Welcome back to Nightly Nonsense. I have the pleasure tonight to be between two of my favoritist people. Wow. The third favoritist is listening in the background, right? I'm here with Jason. I'm here with Carrie, and I have a story that I want you guys to walk me through that I think is super relevant, super important, and people are going to learn something about this. Are you ready?
Maybe.
All right, so this is a real story, right? And it involves the two of you. So we're going to see how this goes. Are you ready?
No.
Never.
All right, good. So we're going to get started. All right, Jason, you work in ministry.
Yes.
You've done all kinds of ministry stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So my recollection of this story is, Jason, you started a young adult ministry, did you not?
Not just me.
Right?
Jesus was involved. There were other people.
You, Jesus, and people started a young adult ministry, right?
Yeah.
And give me some thoughts and some ideas about this ministry that you started. What was it about? What happened? What was going on in it besides a whole bunch of Jesus?
Well, the first thought was a lot of the churches in the area didn't have anything for people that age.
Uh-huh.
And we wanted to provide something for people that age and to reach out to students at JCC, so college students would have a safer place to be on Friday nights rather than going out and partying and maybe getting in trouble.
Right.
They could still get in trouble there, but it wouldn't be... It's much less likely to get in trouble if I would say. But we have once a month, we just have fellowship and games and prayer time. And every week we'd still have a couple games and prayer time, but we'd usually dig into a study, whether it's a DVD study or one of us prepared something along those lines. And it was Jesus was there, so
Jesus, but Jesus was there. I love that, right? So you and this wasn't a small Bible study, right? This had quite a few people.
It could be, well, sometimes it was small. When we first started, it was like 3 or 4, and then we grew up to, I think, closer to 25, 30 people.
So this is not a little thing. That's what I was trying. People think of small groups, think of 3 or 4, right? But you at one time, if everybody was there, you could have had 20, 25 people.
Yeah.
Right? That's a whole bunch of young adults getting together to see Jesus, to find Jesus, right? Right. So again, pretty successful program. Started out with you teaming up with Jesus, a couple other people like, hey, there's a need, and you watched it grow, right?
Yep.
All right, good. Now I want to go to this side of the story. Now, Carrie, you were looking for Jesus.
Yep.
And you decided to come to this Bible study.
I did.
What did you think about this Bible study?
I thought it was really good. Where I lived, we didn't come from an area where there's a lot of options to have church or even Bible study, so I was looking really forward to kind of mingling with a big group of people to find Jesus and just have the opportunity to have fellowship.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, this Bible study, all about finding Jesus and Jesus working in things, right? So, again, now at this Bible study, you were a respecter of persons. We just got done talking about that, right? You had great respect for Jason and for the people leading this and liked the Bible study, right?
Yep.
Now, again, what people don't know is we're going to put one and one together on this whole thing, right? At this Bible study, a mutual friend of ours was attending.
A couple mutual friends, but yeah.
Yeah, one specific,
one,
right?
Yeah.
So Robbie, our friend, right, who's not only the villain of What Ifsville and Mel in the Middle and all these things, but Robbie's been a great friend, right? But Robbie was going to this group, right? Now, Jason, just because Carrie's sitting here, you still have to be honest, right? Does Robbie love Jesus?
Absolutely.
So Robbie loves Jesus, right? Now, again, we might argue about how that comes across all the time and the things that he does, right? But Robbie and Jesus have a relationship, right? And he really has a desire to be Jesus and to show Jesus, right? So at this Bible study, unbeknownst to you, right, you're leading this whole thing, all about Jesus, but Robbie's there and Carrie starts coming.
Mm-hmm. I think the first time she ever saw Robbie, he had me wrapped in his python arms from the side, and I was like this. I think it's the first time she actually ever saw Robbie is while he's hugging me.
Now, Carrie, in fairness, inquiring minds are going to want to know, was it at that moment that you fell head over heels for Robbie, when he had Jason in the python grip, hug?
Not at that moment. It was probably shortly after that, but I was trying to figure out who that dude was hugging Jason.
All right, so trying to figure out who the dude was hugging Jason. Now,
Still
Jason.
trying to figure that out, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, Jason, it's
I love
important
you, Robbie.
for our viewers to know and understand. When you saw Carrie come in, right, and you saw Robbie, did any part of your mind go, man, I think Jesus is going to do a work here and put Carrie and Robbie together?
To be honest, it was so long ago, I don't remember. I don't think so, but I don't remember.
That's good. The truth is, it was not a memorable thing, right?
Yeah,
You weren't
sorry.
like, no,
That's all right.
nope. That's exactly. That's really where
I
I was
have a
going.
bad memory for a lot of things, so
Carrie, when you walked in, you saw Robbie, right, holding Jason, right? Did you immediately say to yourself, "I'm going to marry that guy"?
I wouldn't say marry, but I thought about him pretty much every day since then.
All right. So again, isn't that funny? That in that moment, right? Robbie's doing Robbie, right? Everybody
Robbie
knows.
was doing Robbie.
Right, everybody knows that Robbie hugs and Robbie holds on to people, right?
Yes.
Robbie was doing Robbie, and Carrie walked in. And all these years later, now Robbie and Carrie are married. They have 3 kids at the moment, right? And things progressed from that moment on, right? So Carrie, if we were looking at that moment and we were saying, all right, Carrie, why were you attracted to Robbie? What was it about this whole thing that made you and Robbie come together?
It was Jesus and the fact that he sat and took time to talk to me. He literally sat down and it was a great group of people. Everybody talked to me, but like there's something that he just sat and talked and genuinely wanted to know how I was, how my day was going, what I was about, my relationship with Jesus. I mean, he genuinely just asked those questions. And he'll sit there with you, and he cares to sit and talk with you. So
again, now, is that why you started the small group? Was so that Robbie and Carrie could get together?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Like, you sat down, and you and Jesus sat down and went, "Yeah, here's the deal."
The small group was so we could interact with each other about Jesus, and we know if Jesus is involved, great things are going to happen, and he dictates what those are, we know.
So I just want to make sure that I'm clear on this. You and Jesus teamed up to present an opportunity for Jesus to be seen and shown to other people.
Me, Jesus, and other people.
Perfect,
Teamed
right?
up.
You, Jesus, and other people teamed up to allow Jesus to be seen and felt and experienced, right, in a small group. Mm-hmm. You showed up to the small group and experienced that Jesus, right? Not only in Robbie, but the small group had great value. But what you just explained, that Robbie, listen to me. I think of the stories of Jesus sitting with people and doing that exact same stuff, right? Yeah. So you provided the atmosphere and the place and the teaching. Carrie got to benefit from that, right?
We all did.
Exactly. So when we look at this whole situation, right, and we say, your small group is probably very, very, very responsible for Carrie being married.
Probably.
Carrie being married to Robbie and 3 little kids coming out of that.
I should start a dating service because we had 4 couples get married out of Reach.
That's what, see, dating.
4 couples that met at Reach and now they're married. That's where we're going
with this. It's like, it's all about Jesus dating service.
Yes, it's my goal in life.
That might be a new ministry to start, right?
Yeah.
Again, was it your intent to hook people up?
No. It's my intent to bring Jesus.
It was your intent to bring Jesus, but look at what Jesus did in this whole thing, right? So again, if you were going to sum this up, right, and this is way more of a, not super theological, but super deep, right, conversation that we're having here, right? If you were to sum this up and say, like, listen, sometimes when we team up with God, these kind of things happen. How would you encourage other people, the people who are out there listening, going, I don't know whether I should start this small group, right? Now, again, I'm not starting a small group so people get married, but I want to be obedient to God so God has opportunities to work. Because we have no idea, like, you had no idea when you started this, 4 couples were going to end up being together.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. I'm fortunate to have been involved in the process at all.
Yeah. Now, Carrie, you decided to come to this small group. Mm-hmm. What on earth possessed you to come to that small group?
Like I said, there's nothing really in my hometown that had that atmosphere. You didn't have really a lot of opportunities, so you had to travel to come somewhere where you wanted to have fellowship.
So you had to go out of your way.
Yeah.
Right? And no, Jason, you weren't like bored and had nothing else to do and decided to start the small group, right?
No, I could have been at the flip side.
Could have been all over the place.
All over the place, but I don't know. Jesus just led me to do that. I really can't tell you exactly why I choose to do that over the other things, other than it just happened.
So would it be possible for me to kind of sum this up and say, Jesus had you and others start a small group so Carrie and Robbie could meet, be married, have 3 kids, do ministry and life together?
Well, not just them, but several people.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Yeah, a lot of things came out of it. That's one of the reasons why God had it happen.
So again, now here's the clicker. If you ever get frustrated out there looking, and you get frustrated with Carrie and Robbie, please don't blame Carrie and Robbie, because we've just established as a fact it is not their fault. It's Jason's fault.
It's Andy's fault.
Jason started the small group that got Robbie and Carrie to be married.
I would have never started the small group if I hadn't originally gone to the flip side with where Andy was.
So again, if you really want to understand this, it's probably a fantastic idea that somebody started the flip side that got Jason to do his small group, that got Carrie and Robbie together.
That originated from you.
And then I taught you school too. Like one big, huge, humongous, happy family.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I think it was just all Jesus being involved.
Oh, there you go.
And leading us into each other's lives, even if that means we're with you, Andy.
Fantastic. All right, so let's. This is Nightly Nonsense, where we try to make some sense out of the nonsense that just happened, right? So Jason and Carrie, I want you to look at our fans on Nightly Nonsense, right? And when I say fans, they're about Jesus, right? People who are looking at this and said, hey, we just need some encouragement tonight, right? How would you encourage people when you've seen this whole process? Like, wow, man, the little things that I may choose to do, look at the effects that they had. I never thought really truly going to teach at Levant Christian School would ever have me sitting next to Carrie all these years later, right? Didn't think opening a flip side would have me sitting next to you, right? But those little things that we do, man, they can have long-lasting effects, right? So how would you encourage people to think about that and act upon that?
Pray.
Yep.
And pray and let God lead you. He'll make the decisions for you. He'll make it. It's not always obvious, but the option will always be there. And if you're prayerful about it, He will prayerful and then follow the prayer up with obedience.
Yep.
You'll get where you need to be,
Yeah.
and you'll help other people get where they need to be too.
I love that. I love that whole idea, like pray and be obedient, because we don't know how it's going to affect other people. Really, truly. You had no idea all those years ago when you started the small group with other people that we'd be sitting here having this conversation.
I honestly thought it was going to be 3 or 4 of us hanging out every week.
There you go.
But God's plans are always different. Not always, are usually different than our plans. And even when they are the same, it still doesn't go quite the way we want it to.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
it ends up being, if it's for Him, it's better.
I love it.
And I would echo on that and say, as well as prayer and obedience, don't force anything to happen. Don't force, if the small group isn't going well and if you feel like God's telling you not to do it, then don't do it. Or anything with a relationship, with a job, with anything in life. You just can't force something that God's not in.
Well, now, Carrie. See, now I wanted to end Nightly Nonsense before that, but now you just added this. So now can we add a little fun caveat onto this whole thing?
Uh-oh.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Carrie, originally when you went to this small group, Robbie wasn't the only person that you thought was cute and interesting, right?
That is correct.
We know.
Right. So there may have been somebody else. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
That again, I love, and I'm really truly being serious in this moment, not even trying to cause any trouble, right? What you said was fantastic, right? Like sometimes we have our plan,
Yep.
right? Sometimes we have our focus. This is what I think, and then God says, "Yeah, I know you don't have a clue. It's
Yeah.
over here." Right? So if you had stayed with your focus, wouldn't have been such a great experience at the small group, probably, right?
Yep.
But instead, you ended up walking away with the love of your life.
Yep.
And that's a fantastic. I'm so glad that you did add that, because that's important, right? Sometimes we go to things, we do things, we start things, and we think that God's going to use us to do this and be this, right? And then we look off and go, holy cow, right? If I'd gone with my plan, I'd been totally different in life.
Yeah.
Right? Great, beautiful. Well, I want to thank Jason and Carrie, who, by the way, did this on Fear and Trepidation, right?
Yes.
Neither of them had a clue. I said, hey, let's do something fun together. And they both said, okay, sure. So I hope that you're encouraged by this for Nightly Nonsense. Hopefully we made a little bit of sense out of a whole bunch of nonsense, which is hopefully what you're doing, right? That God's got you maybe in what looks like a pile of nonsense, and you're sifting through it, and God's about ready to make some sense out of all the stuff that you're going through. So thanks, Jason. Thanks, Carrie.
You're welcome.
We will see you next time on Nightly Nonsense.